Hey guys, well here's an aftermath video of the Super Duty Derby truck after its first run at the Williams County Fair. Hey guys, Alex here with All From Him Racing, and today here is the aftermath of the Super Duty Derby truck after its first run. We ran it at the Williams County Fair in the full-size truck class, and I am excited to tell you guys, look at what is still on top of that truck. The stick is still intact, which means we did not break the stick, which means we brought home the win, and it was a fun, wild ride. Anybody that was there saw this thing. It ended up in the back of another pickup truck. He hit me. Somehow we just managed to, he managed to get my back end up into his bed, and we exchanged some paint for sure and went for a wild ride. So you guys will just have to check that video out for yourself. I'll try to post some links in the description below here so that way you guys can check it out. We also had the GoPro running for the in-truck video, so that is good, and I checked it out and the footage turned out really well. You get to really see some of the stuff that we went through in the heat. But that's about it, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and give you guys just a quick walk around to show you the truck and how it fared and any other damage that maybe happened. But if you look at it, thing is still pretty darn solid. It held up really well, was definitely a tough truck, had some good competition out there. A little bit of everything in between. We had some well-built ones and then some very stock trucks. There were 17 total of us out on the track at one time, so to bring home a victory against 16 other trucks, that to me was an achievement, and I am really happy and blessed to be able to bring that home. So let's go ahead and walk around, guys. If you look at the front end here, honestly, not a lot of damage. We have some damage to the sheet metal on both sides, but if you look at it, the hood is still completely straight and solid. Nothing has happened to that. Honestly, it just, I mean, there's a little bit of bending in this front corner on each side, and that is about it. Apart from that, that thing is all still in good shape and looking pretty good. Here's the bumper, still firmly bolted in place. Nothing shifted or moved there. Those bolts are all still nice and tight. Some of the sheet metal did get pulled back. I think I drove into somebody and I kind of ripped some of that skin out from the top there when I pulled away. So that'll just use a little bit of a hammer. Had that happen before with this thing. But the core of it is still very much good and very solid. I've gotten a lot of flack from different guys because I run an aluminum bumper, and they're all telling me, you know, why you run that? You know, why would you do that? That's stupid. Watch the video for yourself, guys, and let me know your opinion. When you see what this bumper did to some of the other trucks, I think you may change your mind, but you know, to each their own. So that is still nice and straight. The front of this truck is very solid. I was really happy with it. Definitely was hitting with both ends of the truck. The rear I think I hit a little harder with, but I did do some damage to some other trucks with this front bumper for sure. So that definitely happened. Up in here, some of that puddling there you can see is from my steering box. I had the lines looped and they kind of got tore up. So unfortunately I was leaking a little bit of some power steering fluid that was still in the box at the time when I started the Derby. So that's what those wet spots are from. Radiator still completely intact. Things stayed nice and cool. Once it got up to temp, it sat right around 220, even revving the heck out of this thing. It still sat right at 220, never got any bit hotter, and fared pretty well. As far as I know, the engine is in good shape. I haven't, you know, really dug around too much underneath to make sure that if any mounts or anything broke. It looked like it was all staying put pretty well, but the way that it was rocking, pretty good. I think I may have a torn isolator in there, so I may actually have to lift the motor up a little bit and put in some new mounts just to, you know, make sure that's still good. as I mentioned, I went into the back of another truck, so literally my rear tires were in the bed of his truck. And when that happened, that obviously put this truck at a pretty good incline, and I did struggle to get it into reverse a couple times after that happened. And I think part of it was just because of the shifting of fluid and everything, because your vehicle isn't really meant to be used at those extreme angles. So once that got into the torque converter a little bit better and everything got flowing, it worked well. As far as how did the thing run, well, it was an improvement, but we still had issues. So if you guys recall, we threw a new carburetor on it. It's the Big G Rochester that we purchased and put up on there. Got the headers kind of at the last minute, and once they were finally completed, so we got those bolted on. Just didn't have a lot of tuning time. It started idled, ran really good, just sitting in the driveway and whatnot. However, I didn't get it super duper hot and drive it super hard like I normally would like to when getting the motor tuned up. And what also happened was that the night before the Derby, the pressure regulator decided to develop a leak and spray fuel, I should say, all over the engine. And obviously that is no good, and I'm glad it happened sitting in the driveway and not out in the Derby heat. So I had to make a last minute call because it was just too late to get to an auto parts store, and honestly I just needed to get this thing up and running and ready to go for the next day. So I just hooked a direct line up from the fuel pump up to the carburetor with an inline fuel filter, just to kind of try to help slow the flow down a little bit. However, we did not control the pressure, and I think what was happening was the thing was loading up. It definitely was signs of flooding, so I put the pedal down after it would stall out on me. It stalled a number of times. When you guys watch the in-truck video, you'll see it started to stall after about every other couple hits. However, the thing did fire back up on me and was able to keep on running. Another issue that developed in the Derby was I was having the starter gear grinding. You'll be able to check that out in the in-truck as well. So, you know, you'd hit it and you get that awful high-pitched grind when you just know that it's not engaging properly. So I'm going to need to pull the starter out, check that out. I may have to yank this thing out and, you know, put a new plate in there and some new gears, because that is not going to work for the long term. Obviously that needs to be fixed. However, with a little bit of saving grace, even in the situations out on the track when that happened, we were able to just kind of hit it a few times and get it to clear out, fire up for us, and we were able to make it all the way to the end. Your typical sheet metal damage on this side, we did get pushed against the wall more than once. This side was against the wall from different guys hitting me and shoving me against the wall, so definitely scraped my paint there and made it not so pretty. Pushed the cab corner in there. The mount's still in one piece and intact where it needs to be. However, you know, that did tear it up fairly decent. I'm actually happy that I didn't weld it all the way down there. I think that may have caused some problems. The bed there definitely did get kind of torn in. You can see where the wheel well should be, you know, the hump there above the wheel. So that obviously got pressed in pretty good. I took some hard hits on basically both sides of the bed, but they were nice enough to compact it all in towards the middle for me, and didn't have any issues with the bed blowing out and things that we've had in the past. And you know, the leaves are all still intact and nice and tight. Tailgate here has definitely seen some better days. It took a fair bit of abuse. However, it did fold right around like I was wanting it to. You can see that the bed got pushed in pretty good here in the middle, you know, in between the frame rails, and the frame rails did bend a little bit. However, it is still very much pretty straight here. And you can see where the added the washers and things that I did to bolt this bed down definitely came in handy and helped it out. But you can see how much the bed got pushed in on that side, and same thing, this side is pushed in a little bit as well. But you know, it's all sheet metal and cosmetic damage, honestly. The main structure, which is the frame, is still very much solid and very straight. To be able to win the Derby and have the truck still look this good, I am very content. Now, one thing I failed to mention while we were over here was that I did lose both rear tires. Part of it was when I was in that guy's bed, but I think the bulk of the tearing up of tires was just from literally just taking hits. When all that damage happened, so did the damage to the tire here, and that just tore it up. So I lost both the rear tires. The front tires are still holding air. The steering did not break, did not have any issues with the steering. Obviously not running power steering, the thing didn't want to turn super easy, but still was able to navigate around the track. But these things were just flopping, and thankfully these tires were just, you know, the beads of them were just strong enough that they managed to not get ripped off the rims here. So they actually stayed on the rim, and we were able to just go for a ride and were still giving me a fair bit of traction even after they blew. So again, you'll see that on the video when you guys check that out for yourselves. So that's Williams County 2018 full-size truck class video. If you want to go search that for yourself, or as I said, I'll try to post some links once they're available. And again, just the same kind of sheet metal damage here. We did get pushed up against the wall on this side as well, so obviously, you know, definitely some scratching of paint. Pushed the lower part of the door in. You can kind of see where there's a bar right there, and it tore the sheet metal where they definitely hit me. So obviously we'll try to either pull this out, but most likely just try to add some more plating there to try to bring that all together again. And you know, just again, a lot more sheet metal damage, but where it needs to be structurally sound, which is the frame, you can see here that everything is still nice and intact. The leafs took the abuse well. Shackles are not broke. Rear end is still intact. Drive shaft functioned just as it should, and I actually made it stick out ever a little bit more than maybe it needed to when I did the creation of the drive shaft, and it worked out well because the front end ever so slightly, or I mean the rear end I should say, sorry, pushed in, migrated forward just ever so slightly, and it actually worked in my favor to leave things the way that I did. Nothing to write home about on the inside. Shifter worked well. I think there was a little bit of driver error a few times, just from, you know, trying to get used to the positions for it. I like the fact that it has the park lockout. However, I think one modification I may make is actually like a forward gear lockout, so that way I can slam it forward and I'm in drive, and then I pull it back, I'm in reverse, and then if for some reason I just lose the general drive, maybe I can remove that front pin or bolt while out in the derby, and then be able to gain, you know, at least 1 or 2 forward gears. So maybe a change for that. So reason being, I was just going a little farther forward. I think I was dropping it into like second gear instead of into drive. So something to think about as an improvement. Definitely happy with the fact that the front end was really solid on this truck. The tires held up good. The steering is all still solid. Near as I can tell, everything is intact as it should be and not bent. The alignment wise, it's all still real good. You know, I was able to steer it with them lifting it from the back, and really impressed. I mean, again, we were not being kind. We ended up getting the hard hitter award too for our heat, one of the 2 that they gave out. So that's kind of like your Mad Dog hard hitter. They call it Best of Show, I think, actually, at this derby. So we got that, and we still were able to pull off a win. Sheet metal did get pushed in a fair bit right in this one corner here. However, it's still solid at the mount, so we'll probably just pull that back again for a cosmetic. But you know, honestly guys, all things considering, the fact that we put on a show, got the hard hitter award, and were able to pull out the victory that night, this thing is looking pretty good and solid. So at this point for this year, I think this thing is done. It was built for a very specific set of rules, and unfortunately I have to wait until like August of next year before the next derby where these rules would be met. However, you know, either that or we'll just save it and run it again at Williams County, just like we have been doing, and you know, it sits in storage and so be it. But it was a pretty solid truck, and I'm looking forward to being able to get another few runs out of this thing. It definitely, for sure, has another run without any question. This thing is still very much solid where it counts. Absolutely. Just some cosmetic work in the back, some new tires, and a little bit of cosmetic work up front, and I think this thing is ready to rock again, so that is pretty exciting. And we did win Best Paint. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier in this video, so we won the Best Paint Award, got the Hard Hitter Award, the first place trophy, and one final thing I'm going to conclude this at the end of this video. We won this awesome fire pit. This was donated to the Derby by LeBaron Designs LLC. There's some friends of ours that happened to donate it, and we got to bring this thing home. The Derby Fever fire pit. You can see it's got a round back wagon carved out into it on both sides, and then even one on the ends here. So when you have a nice campfire at night, that just glows and it looks pretty cool. So that was one added thing I had no idea was part of it, and was super excited to be able to bring that thing home. And so I'm going to give those guys a nice shout out. LeBaron Designs LLC, look them up on Facebook. I'll try to drop a link in the description if I can remember. And be sure to check those guys out. They make all kinds of cool things with steel and different metals, all like plasma cut. Very cool stuff. You know, they'll do all kinds of custom designs as well as some derby stuff. So make sure to check those guys out and let them know that All For Him Racing sent you. So there you go, guys. That is the aftermath from the 2018 Williams County Derby, and we hope that you guys liked this video. Make sure to give us some comments below. Let us know what you guys thought and how this thing fared. Make sure to check out those videos for yourself so you can really see what I'm talking about. As I said, I'll try to put links in the description, so you have the main video of the event as well as the in-truck cam. So check them both out. I think it's pretty cool stuff. We got some really good footage. And Williams County, just in general, from 2018 was a hard-hitting derby. There's a number of different classes, so make sure to check all those videos out as well, guys. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you thought this video was cool. If it was, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you have not already done so. As always, we hope you guys have a great day, and until the next video, we'll talk to you later, guys.